all my life. Been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM. I'm in studio right here. Darren's doing it from home, doing it big over there. Darren, how you doing?
Doing okay. You know, I had to do a little remote stuff. I got some stuff I got to do right after the show, so I didn't want to be in traffic. So I decided to do it from, as Rush Limbaugh would say, an undisclosed location.
Busy man, huh?
You know, I try to be. Shout out to Arian Smith, who's watching us via social media. He was the first to comment on today's show. So as I normally do, feel free to give us a call. Jump on the phone lines today at 913-491-8255. Got a lot on tap today, Sterling, and really don't want to, keep the people waiting, man. What you want to talk about? Well, I know what we're going to talk about first.
Yeah,
but...
we know here. First things first, we got to talk about the game last night. Last night's game was a classic, and the only thing that would have made it better is if the coronavirus wasn't going on, because I would have, the Cleveland Browns fans would have been absolutely wild. I mean, it still sounded loud in there with the few thousand that were there, but that game last night was an absolute classic, reminiscent of the 2018 Chiefs-Rams game. It had the Paul Pierce comeback story from Lamar Jackson. It had the 4th and 5 touchdown throw. It had 9 rushing touchdowns. It had Baker Mayfield looking good. There's not just one thing to pinpoint in this game that just stood out, because everything stood out. The backdoor cover, if you were better on the safety to end the game, it had everything. Justin Tucker with a 55-yard game winner. What to you, Darren, stood out the most?
The play of Lamar Jackson. We talked a little bit about this game on our Red Hour show last night, and the thing that stood out was the fact that we hadn't seen vintage Lamar Jackson. We haven't seen that MVP type Lamar Jackson this season, and I think last night it gave hopes, it gave reminiscence, it gave some flashes to what we've been missing all season. Look, people talk about him not being able to throw the ball, but he passed for a touchdown, he passed for 163 yards. Obviously he ran for 2 touchdowns. I think obviously his biggest contributing factor was was his legs, being able to shake the defense out of their boots, things of that matter. But all in all, I think that we got a chance to see why he was chosen the league MVP last year, and that was the play of Lamar Jackson. And look, and not taking nothing away from what Baker Mayfield did last night. The question that I had going into last night's game was whether or not we would see the consistency. We saw him have a big game last week against the Tennessee Titans where he threw for 4 touchdowns. My question was, what will he be able to follow it up with? He followed up with 3 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. And look, and it was a back and forth game. I know a lot of commentators today were trying to make it seem like, I agree, this is the game of the year in this season. Now, the game of the year obviously was in Miami back in February for Chiefs fans. But I was there in Los Angeles when the Chiefs took on the Rams, and people are saying, "Well, Patrick Mahomes, he had 5." Well, now they remember all of a sudden he had five turnovers in that game. Well, I said then he had 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles, but he had 6 touchdowns. Again, it was 54-51. I mean, and the game went down to the wire, just like this game did now. It didn't end in that fashion with the safety, but I would still give the edge as the game of the year or the best game on Monday Night Football to the 2018 Classic. And not saying I'm prisoner of the moment because I was there, but I saw both. And so even though this game didn't really pick up until the last 5 minutes of the ball game, where in that game it was back and forth throughout the entire game.
The thing I'll say about Lamar Jackson, because I think everyone in the media has been harsh on him, and I think for good reason this season, he's really taken a step back. He struggled in the first half. He could not get his footing. I don't know if it was his cleats. I don't know if he was just gliding across, but he was stumbling a lot. He got it figured out in the second half, and when he came back after the injury, everyone wants to call it what it is, he came back, and that first play, the 4th and 5, the bomb was, I think it was to Mark Andrews. No, to Marquise Brown. By the way, Marquise Brown, he had 3 drops leading up to this catch he made for a touchdown. it just culminated in what we saw the year before with Lamar Jackson. He's not going to put up these eye-popping stats through the air. What matters for Lamar Jackson is, can he make the throws that count and that matter? And he made the throws that counted and mattered in this game. He would have had better numbers if Marquise Brown doesn't drop 3 balls.
Well, and one of the things that I keep trying to stress to people every now and then is that the man can throw, the man can actually throw a football. He won the Heisman Trophy. He didn't just run for 2,000 yards or whatever, or, didn't look, that's something that the man knows. He knows how to throw the football. Now, whether or not receivers can catch it, as you mentioned, Marquise Brown, I think a few weeks ago he posted a tweet about not getting opportunity, not getting catches. Then then he throws the ball to you and you drop it on the ground. So that's the problem that they're going to have to work out within themselves. But look, twice last year en route to his MVP season, he not only, I believe, led the league, or he may have been second. It was either he or Jameis that led the league in touchdown passes last year, but it was 2 games last year, Sterling, that he threw for 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, when people say he can't throw, I take offense to that, because he can, because he's proven that he can do it. But all in all, look, I know the locker room, restroom break, whatever it is, people have talked about whether or not they seriously should have a porta potty down there. And I've always thought that myself as to why they don't have something accessible, because if you're in the middle of the game and you got to go, you got to go. Now, most of the time I would think they would have to go and do number one. It looked like he was rushing to go do something else, but
the Paul Pierce. Well, you know why they don't? Because somehow a cameraman would zoom in, and if they're in there longer than a minute, they're going to be zooming in and they're going to have a clock, a timer. They'll call it instead of the red zone, they'll call it the brown zone. Come on, man. You know how this goes. It's the media. But
I hadn't thought that far ahead on that one.
But I do want to talk about 9 touchdowns on the ground.
The
9 touchdowns on the ground.
The running game is alive and well.
Well, it was effective because both teams did stuff in different aspects, in different ways. Lamar Jackson, he kept plays alive, making 3 guys miss. You think he's going to get sacked behind the line of scrimmage. He would keep the play alive and then run for 12 yards. Baker Mayfield had a nice touchdown run in this game. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Gus Edwards had 2 on the ground. The run game was alive and well. Both these 2 teams kind of went against the traditional thought of you have to only pass in today's NFL. You know how I've been preaching this. This game was, what was it, 47-42?
Yeah.
9 touchdowns on the ground, which was a NFL record. What did you see, Darren, on the ground that just stood out? Do you think the scheme was the offensive line? Was it a lack of defense? What did you see here?
It was a combination of the offensive line, because if you saw some of the replays that they showed last night in the holes, like there was one where I saw it as quickly as Lamar Jackson did, where it opened up on the left side and he ran up the gut and that might have been the one where he got the touchdown. I think he ran 37 yards up the gut. For I think it ended up being 44 yards for a touchdown, but I saw that. Now look, there was some questionable defensive calls against, that you would question, like, that they're going to run, and you're not trying to force Lamar Jackson to pass the ball. And look, even in passing situation where you knew he had to pass, they still can't even stop him and his connection to Mark Andrews, the tight end. Like, you would leave Mark Andrews wide open, in the middle of the field. So there was a lot of things, I guess, that played a factor. As it relates to the Cleveland Browns, I just think that they have a pretty good offensive line. Look, man, it's funny because when I look at it, Hunt only touched the ball 6 times on the ground, ran for 33 yards. But again, one of the things that he's able to do, like he did with Kansas City, he's able to line up. He's able to line up outside as a wide receiver, and we saw the touchdown pass that he caught from Baker Mayfield as well. So again, some of the stuff that we saw when he was in Kansas City, people got a chance to see on a national scale once again. Kareem Hunt on the national stage with the Cleveland Browns. And look, I've always said that I wish things would have turned out differently for Kareem Hunt here in Kansas City, and last night is further proof as to why.
So I actually did a poll on this last night on Twitter. Who would you rather have back? Because this was a game between Kareem Hunt and Marcus Peters. Take away the off-the-field issues. Take away that. who would you rather have on this year Kansas City Chiefs team? Kareem Hunt or Marcus Peters?
There's no question. Look, everybody knows I love me some Marcus Peters because of his social activism, but it's Kareem Hunt all day long. If Kareem Hunt never gets put off the team, if I'm Brett Veach, if I'm Clark Hunt, I suspend him for the rest of the regular season. But he comes back for the playoffs. There's no way that you're not telling me Kansas City is not going for a three-peat in Tampa Bay this year. If Kareem Hunt is on this team in 2018, at the end of the year when we face the New England Patriots, Chiefs win that game without question.
Does this game last night tell you more about the Ravens or about the Browns? Because you can make the case that the Browns, even though they lost, this was a game where you go, the Browns are here. They're legit. They made it over the hump. They beat Tennessee. They're here for the long haul. They're a good team now. Or is it the Ravens saying, back against the wall, they came back, needed a win, and now they're still alive for the playoffs?
No, I to be honest, Sterling, I would side with the Browns. I think this goes back to our conversation that we may have had a little bit yesterday, but when someone asked us yesterday, is there a team that the Chiefs should fear or a team that scares us in the playoffs? It's that Cleveland Browns team that I told you about yesterday. I told you how they can run the ball and they can score points. I don't think Baltimore ends up making it to the playoffs. That's just the gut feeling that I'm having with 3 games left. I don't see them making it to the playoffs. I just think too many things have to happen. That being said, I think the Cleveland Browns do make it. But if you beat Kansas City, you have to score 30 or more points. One, they can do it. If this team plays the way that they did last night with a mixture of the run-pass game, and trust me, if Kareem Hunt is on, again, you know what he can do in Kansas City when he was here, and we saw what he did last night. If that team comes to Kansas City and I'm looking at the stats and they hold now, granted they would they did kind of score fast. I know somebody asked if they scored too quickly. They had the ball for about 32 minutes. But I think in the manner in which they scored and the fact that I don't trust our run defense enough to know that they're going to be able to stop this team from running. They're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFL in running the football. So they're going to run the football if they were to play us, and it's going to be cold. So and that's the team that is built for cold weather because it's Cleveland. So again, out of all the teams, this is the one that doesn't scare me, but it does worry me if the Chiefs are not on their A game and they decided they're going to wait till the third or fourth quarter to turn the switch. This is a team that can put the Chiefs out their miseries if they're not careful.
Did your perception about Baker Mayfield change at all? I know you've been pretty tough on Baker Mayfield, not for without reason.
Yeah,
but you have been pretty tough on him. Does this 3-game stretch, I know it's a small sample size, but against some pretty good teams, does your perception of him change at all?
No, and the only reason why is because, again, he does not have Odell Beckham. Now, if he had Odell, the question would be, would he still be Odell-centric, trying to force-feed him and take away from everything else? I think, look, whether or not is a franchise quarterback, that's for Cleveland to decide. I don't think that he is, but he is in the mode of Alex Smith, I think, in the fact that he is a great game manager. Look, you got him surrounded with talent, okay? He's got the 2 running backs. He's got Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, whenever he comes back. I know it's going to be sometime late next year. He's got a tight end, so he's got the pieces around him. All he has to do is don't turn the ball over. If he can minimize the turnovers, don't try to be all free willy-nilly and try to make it a personal showdown with the other quarterback. If he just does his job as the quarterback, I think Stefanski puts him in a situation where he can't lose.
For me, something that really stood out and was noticeable was the lack of weapons for the Ravens on the outside. To me, that really stood out because Mark Andrews was fantastic. You could say that maybe Lamar Jackson should have looked his way earlier on the game. I'll give you that. But he tried a couple of times and just overthrew him. But when your number 1 wide receiver has 3 drops and some big drops in this game, Willie Snead had 1 good catch, but that was with Trace McSorley throwing the ball to him. To me, what really stood out was the lack of weapons that the Ravens have, and they were still able to put up 47 points. If you're the Ravens, how much better do you think they could be if they actually drafted and hit on some good wide receivers.
Oh no, I think you hit on a real important issue when it comes to Baltimore, is that they don't have weapons. I know Mark Ingram. I think he was out last night. I don't see him in the stat
Well,
sheet.
actually, so the thing with Mark Ingram is they're slowly phasing him out of the equation in Baltimore. They're trusting J.K. Dobbins now. Say what you will. To me, if you're a veteran team, I would probably want to lean on the veterans. You're not rebuilding, but they're seemingly giving the ball a lot more to J.K. Dobbins, and week after week, they're starting to phase him out of the equation.
But to go back to your point about lack of weapons, the problem with Baltimore is because they're so run heavy centric that it's hard to find, to have your quote unquote number one wide receiver, whether it's Snead, Brown, whoever, or you could draft one or even bring someone in. The question is the play call. The play call is going to be the issue at the end of the day, because you don't know are they going to be run heavy, and because everything is going to be based off Lamar and his legs, and he doesn't throw as much because he's not asked to. I mean that's a real tough one. I mean, the identity at the end of the day is going to be the quarterback Lamar Jackson, but it's going to be whether or not Harbaugh decides to kind of change up how they call that offense in regards to helping him.
So both these teams, basically what you said was you don't think the Ravens make the playoffs. Do you think the Browns make the playoffs? Is that what you're saying? You think it's going to be the Browns and the Ravens somehow miss the cut?
Yeah. Yeah, no. When I'm sitting there looking at it, trying to pull this up now, when I look at the playoff standings and just how it is, Cleveland, they'll probably, I think they'll lose one more. They do face the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't remember if that game is at home or on the road, but I expect them to win 2 out of the last 3 games to finish at 11-5. So I think that's good enough for them. Now Baltimore is on the outside right now. Outside of where Miami is, they're the number 8 seed. So, look, I might have spoke too soon. They could make the playoffs. But so many things have to go into effect. But granted, look, I mean, the New England Patriots, the Raiders, they still have an outside shot. I don't see it happening. So, I guess at the end of the day, Baltimore could eke in. Because at the end of the day, all I care about is whether or not the Chiefs can win out. Chiefs went out, then we get a weekend of watching everybody else beat themselves up.
So before we take a quick break, what do you finally make of this division? Who's the best team in it? Is it the Steelers? Is it the Browns? Is it the Ravens? I mean, at this point, the Steelers they're trending the wrong way. The wide receivers care more about TikToks pregame than they do about the game, it looks like. So, I'm just saying, you can't go out there doing that and then, put up 14 points. But who do you think is the best team in this division?
Ugh, man, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment and say Cleveland, but because I do, because Pittsburgh still beat them head up. But again, Pittsburgh is in a scenario where instead of playing 4 games in 28 days, they played 4 games in 19 days. So they're a little bit of an enigma because of how their schedule was thrown into flux compared to everyone else. I know Baltimore got more of a break than Pittsburgh did. At the moment, I'm still going to say Pittsburgh because, the first 11 games aren't flukes. I mean, they won those games and they did beat Cleveland head up. So I'm going to stick with the Steelers. Again, I'm interested to see how their last game against the Cleveland Browns is going to shape up. And look, I think for Chiefs fans, that's going to be a telltale matchup against the Browns, I think. And that game probably should be flexible. I know they have that game at 12 o'clock on CBS, but I think by the time that weekend comes, that game is going to be flexed to Sunday night because that's going to be a big game. So all in all, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh because I think they'll return to their winning ways against the Bengals Monday night. Seriously, on ESPN. And
you better hope so. If you lose to the Bengals, you got a real issue.
If you lose to the Bengals, that's going to be an issue because you're going to fall from 1 to 2 to 3. And actually, you're going. You might not even fall. You might fall straight down to a wild card spot. So that's something else that you have to be concerned with. So, but no, I'm with you. If they lose to the Bengals, that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, the Bengals lost 30-7 to a Dallas team that is not good, to put it mildly. But let's take a quick break.
Dallas still feels like they have a chance, so I don't even know.
Well, that division is brutal. That division is just – although I will say some teams that – what's it? New York Giants have won like 4 of 6 games. Washington's won a few games. You have the Eagles all of a sudden just now beating the New Orleans Saints, and then now Dallas Cowboys win by 23. I mean, the NFC East making a comeback.
They're trying to be respectable before the end of the season.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about whether it's going to be Taysom, Drew Brees, or Jameis Winston against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
Are you looking for unique sporty clothing and merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport styles, sport local, sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 810 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words, paid in full.
Woohoo! Did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 913-890-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Rock your home with new tops from Kansas City's best countertop fabricator, Rock Tops. They custom fabricate and install stone surfaces that will make you fall in love with your home. Making homes look incredible is Rock Tops' thing. Being nice just comes naturally. Rock Tops offers carry-out samples and virtual or in-home appointments. Call 913-782-0802 or go to rocktopskc.com. Mention 810 Rocks to receive 10% off right now.
I'm Joel Clark, a SelectQuote advisor, and we are hiring in Kansas City. I've been with SelectQuote for over 17 years, and I can tell you, coming to SelectQuote was the best decision I ever made. The earning potential here is real. I've personally made over $250,000 year in and year out. Invest in your future and give us a call now. 1-833-HIRING-1. That is 1-833-447-4641. Or check us out online at SelectQuoteCareer.com. I guarantee you won't regret it.
You can keep your grass green and lush all year long with a new sprinkler system from Summit Lawn and Landscape. Call Summit Lawn and Landscape today at 816-966-9434 to design a water-efficient system for your home and never drag a hose again. 816-966-9434. Summit Lawn and Landscape provides complete lawn maintenance, including mowing, fertilization, and landscape installation, maintenance, and design. Call 816-966-9434 or go to summitlawn.com.
We're back here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1540 AM, Darren and Sterling. I want to let you know Tracy's Kitchen Soul Food and Catering has partnered with Show Me Fish and Chicken to bring Raytown and surrounding areas a new taste and flavor of soul food for your weekend cravings. Will and Tracy also have your game day treats to your Sunday dinner eats. Come and get that Southern-style comfort food that's cooked from the heart and prepared from the soul with some old and new school takes on good old-fashioned homemade comfort food that will have you coming back for more. Come on down to 5220 Blue Ridge Boulevard for Soul Food weekends, Saturdays 2 to 6 and Sundays 12 to 5 p.m. You can give them a call at 816-447-1098. Also available on DoorDash, so now you have no excuses. Now, Sterling, before we went to break, someone, of course, and then we're going to get right to the New Orleans Saints and Kansas City Chiefs, but they wanted to talk about the covering, how Baltimore covered the point spread last night, and I guess for some for Vegas casinos or whatever. I think a lot of the money was going on the Cleveland Browns, and of course the Browns messed up the church's tithes and offerings by getting that safety at the very end. So
it was very funny. It's one of those things
funny.
where
I'd be upset.
This is why I don't bet, though. If you don't bet, it's hilarious. See, this is why I don't bet, because you never know what stupid thing is going to happen. They held the ball forever, and I was surprised that they had that much time, personally, that it worked, actually. They were going the wrong way, but they weren't losing the ball. And then once it went to the back of the end zone, you were screwed. But it was pretty good play by Cleveland to actually control the ball that long, and a good job by Baltimore to not over-pursue, leave open a huge hole. But if you are a bettor, this is like a worst-case scenario. This was a nightmare. All you got to do is just fumble it, score a touchdown, incomplete pass, literally anything except take a safety.
I'm gonna be honest. I was just trying to. I was honestly wondering why he just didn't try a Hail Mary. Yeah, I mean,
you can't throw that thing 75 yards.
Well, yeah, but you can throw it as far as you can. You might get a penalty and get a chance to kick a field goal to tie it up at the end of the game. I'm saying, look, we know crazy things happen. So I want to say what's up to Brant Phelps watching us via social media. But Sterling, this Sunday, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, they are taking on, they're traveling down to New Orleans, taking on the Saints. The Saints, after losing their game on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles, looks like they're going to stick with Taysom Hill. But my question to you, Sterling, is should they stay with him? Should they look at putting Jameis in there? He kind of became one-dimensional against the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, granted, you can't really do much when your defense gives up 243 yards on the ground and puts you in a situation where you have to pass. But we know what Jameis can do. We know he can chuck the ball down the field. If you're Sean Payton, who are you going with this weekend? Or do you bring Drew Brees back? I mean, is he prepared to come back?
I think Drew Brees is the best option, but I think you sit him one more week. I think you have to make sure he is 100% healthy for the playoffs, which brings me to where you got to choose between Jameis and Taysom. And if it was me, I think Jameis is the better quarterback. I think they stick with Taysom Hill because it's only one more week. You know what you've gotten from Taysom these past few games. This is the first game you've lost, and you could easily say there's an easy fix. Taysom, don't fumble the football. I mean, he had a couple of bad fumbles in his game, and that's, I would probably say, a relatively easy fix. If you have 2 turnovers in the game, that's the one thing you can point to and say this game would have been different. Taysom Hill still threw for 290 yards. He had 2 touchdowns through the air. It's not like Taysom Hill had some abysmal game where he couldn't throw the football. No, he actually looked better than I think a lot of people expected him to look. But with only one game left, probably before Drew Brees comes back, I would assume they stick with what and that's Taysom Hill.
My only concern and my only pushback to that is that you can't afford a loss. Now, I believe we both expect Kansas City to win on Sunday, but if you're the Saints, you need to give your chance the best, or you need to give your team the best chance to win. Is it Drew Brees? Could it be Jameis Winston? You got to remember, they can only afford so many losses. If they lose again, and the Rams win on Sunday, the Rams win Sunday, then both of those teams are at 10-4. Now, I'm not sure whether or not, I think the Saints may still have a better conference record, or no, they'll have this. I think the Rams may have a better conference record, but I think the Saints will have a better division record, so they might still hold the tiebreaker over the Rams. But again, you don't want to be in a situation where you keep falling backwards, because I don't see Green Bay losing going further. Taysom Hill, I think he was a good experiment for what he was for these games that Drew Brees has been out. But if I'm Sean Payton, and I go back and I look at that film, like Andy Reid says, he had a chance to go back and look at the film. You go back and look at that film, and you see what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. You know that the Chiefs hopefully paid attention to what the Eagles did, and if Steve Spagnuolo does anything similar to that, that could be a tough situation for Taysom Hill this Sunday. And at the end of the day, I really, I think Jameis Winston gives them a better opportunity to stretch the field against the Chiefs defensive back. And look, I know the chances he would take would also put Kansas City in position to get some interceptions. But I expect a high scoring affair in this ball game, but I think Jameis Winston gives them a much better chance at beating Kansas City than Hill does.
The one thing I'll agree with you there is Taysom Hill will definitely stretch the field. He will take advantage, good or bad, of anyone going deep. And to beat a team like Kansas City, you have to make those throws. We've seen time and time and time again, you cannot beat the Chiefs trying to control the clock.
Yeah.
You can't beat the Chiefs putting up 21 points. How did the Raiders beat the Chiefs?
They
put up a lot of points. Yeah, they went deep over the top. And so I will agree with you there. I think that is the way to beat Kansas City is you have to go deep. You have to go over the top. And I think Jameis does give him the best chance in that instance. They probably also give him the best chance to get blown out and lose by about 40 if he throws 3 picks. But at some point, if you're not going to have Drew Brees, you may go with the boomer bust and see what happens. You're probably going to lose either way. Why not either lose spectacularly or give yourself at least a somewhat better chance of winning?
No, I agree. Like I said, that's why I feel Winston would give them a better chance. One, and look, he's a much bigger guy. I think Taysom Hill, if you push, if you rush him well enough, I think you'll be able to get him down much more easily than you would Jameis Winston. I mean, even in someone's grass.
5 sacks. He took 5 sacks. He took 5 sacks and held on the football way too long against the Eagles.
Yeah, and so look, the Chiefs are a 3-point favorite going into the game Sunday. Again, I'm just someone, if you're going to give the team the best opportunity, and this is going to be the national game of the week on Sunday. So, all eyes are going to be on you. If you're Drew Brees, maybe you do try to push to come back. I doubt it, though. I doubt that they allow him to do so. But look, we're biased, but I know this is your Super Bowl matchup, you and Steve Super Bowl matchup, but I just don't. Here's the thing, because I don't know which Chiefs team is going to show up Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be the one that scores 22 points, the one that scores 33 last week. The one that gives up points. Once they get a little lead or they come back from a lead, let the other team back into the ball game. So I don't know. I don't know which team to show up this Sunday. Though I do expect Kansas City to actually cover at -3. So we'll see what happens with that.
You finally get a cover. Are you going to actually bet on the Chiefs? You haven't in a while.
No. I just bet money line. That I can't. Trust me. I'm losing money just on that betting money line. But but for them, I think Sunday. Well, no, Sunday they didn't cover the spread there as well. But they did hit the over under. So that was that part was. But
so you're 2/3, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, but it doesn't help me.
I know. I know. You messed it up. You messed it up. You and your dollar for $150,000 parlays.
Hold on. Well, first of all, I won on the Chiefs because again I bet the money line on them, and then of course the over under. But still, it's dealing with them is tragedy right now.
So after these 4 games, what you have seen from Taysom Hill, do you think he's the next guy up when Drew Brees retires? Is he going to be the guy? Let me give you some stats.
Analytics now.
No, these are simple ones.
Okay.
834 yards through the air, so a little over 200 yards throwing per game. 4 touchdowns through the air. 2 interceptions, and he's completing nearly 72% of his passes. This is not counting his legs. This is straight arm stats.
First of all, you're kind of fudging the numbers. He started 5 games, so that's less than 200 yards a game in the air.
I'm saying right here, looking right here, 4 starts.
Hold on. He started 5 games. He's 4-1 as a starter.
3-1.
Okay, I thought he was 5-1. Okay, well, fine. 200+ yards a game. That doesn't. Hell, Jameis can do that in the first half. Now it might go to both teams, but he can do that. Here's the thing. I think Drew Brees comes back. I don't think he retires at the end of this season. Because
I agree with you.
Yeah,
No,
so,
I'm with you there.
So if he doesn't retire, then of course you got the backup situation. I mean, they have Hill for I think a couple of years at least as a backup, if nothing else.
They gave him it was like a 3-year, $21 million deal.
Yeah, if I'm the Saints, though, you've seen enough of him on tape that I think if I'm Sean Payton or the GM, I'm looking to draft a quarterback because he is someone that can easily be, can be schemed for. And look, just like the Philadelphia Eagles did against. I mean, they went after him. They sacked him 5 times. I think they caused him for a couple of turnovers. Yeah, I'm not convinced that he could be the starter now. The question is going to be just how bad is Jameis Winston, or whether but he could be in a situation like Le'Veon Bell. They're just not utilizing him, and you have him on the team. So I really don't know. I know every now and then we like to play GM, but if I'm the GM of the Saints, I am probably looking for a quarterback, maybe, but again, I got to see what Drew Brees is going to do. If he comes back, then your hands are kind of tied, and you're stuck with the Taysom of the backup and as a gadget, and then maybe Jameis sticks around for another year. But otherwise, I'm looking for another quarterback.
Randy, we got a question. How many pass attempts? 114 pass attempts. So decent sample size. It's not like he's only thrown the ball 60 times. I mean, 72% is pretty. I will say this. I thought it was a gimmick. I thought Sean Payton was lying. It was a 2-year, $21 million deal. I thought he was lying.
That's a lot of money.
I truly did. I thought this is stupid. He has exceeded all my expectations throwing the football. He hasn't played. He's 30. He hasn't played quarterback legitly. For an extended period of time since college.
Yeah, but
like 8 years ago. I mean,
okay, but here's my pushback to that. You could have drafted a quarterback in the second round. Look at Jalen Hurts. Look at what you're paying Carson Wentz. Look at Jalen Hurts, and you're paying Taysom Hill, 2 years, $21 million. Where you could have drafted, developed someone for the future, and been paying him a whole lot less.
I agree. I don't think Jalen Hurts. I think the reason why I think Taysom Hill is a better athlete than Jalen Hurts, even though I think better athlete. Yeah, Taysom Hill is one of the most freaky athletes in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is probably a better quarterback, probably will be a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill plays tight end, wide receiver. He's the gunner, punt returner, kick returner, and quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is a better athlete just based off of genetics, bro. Compared to Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill ran a 4.3.
Okay.
If you don't think Taysom Hill is more athletic than Jalen Hurts.
I didn't say he wasn't athletic. I'm just saying in comparison to Jalen Hurts that, that's I can't go with you on that. But look, at the end of the day, again, you're asking me about Taysom Hill. I'm just saying I don't think for what you're paying, the man's age, what his position is, you could have done more. And again, I'm not saying you could have drafted Jalen Hurts, but I'm just saying you could have drafted a quarterback or someone that you thought would be good enough to follow Drew Brees. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. But you get him in the system just like any other backup quarterback, just like Tua. You just draft somebody and then you're training them, and you're getting the reps in. And then when a situation like this happens with Drew Brees where he goes down injured, if you're not ready to go to Jameis, but you want to give this guy a chance. Now you have him, and you're paying him far less money than what you're paying Taysom Hill, and he's much younger.
No, I agree, but that's what's tough with what Drew Brees has kind of done, because Drew Brees has been wishy-washy on what he's going to do for the past 4 seasons.
He's Brett Favre-ish.
Yeah, I mean, seriously though, you think he's going to retire, then he comes back. So, in a way, he's almost put the Saints in a bad position by not giving them a clear time frame. And I think that's the issue. It also hurts to an extent. They win a lot of games. You're not getting some Tua. You're not getting Justin Herbert. You're not going to get, one of these top-end Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. You're not getting one of these guys. You got to hit on a back-end, second-round developmental prospect that you go, could he be a guy? And there's so many guys that's so difficult to actually judge who's going to be effective once you get out of these quote-unquote locks. And even then, guys like Daniel Jones, Guys like Sam Darnold, you don't even know. Quarterback is such a tough position to truly evaluate unless you get one of these top-end guys.
Well, that and also, I mean, we know that there's going to be changes. Maybe Sam Darnold could be, the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So I'm saying, again, paying Taysom Hill that kind of money, and you're not. I mean, up until now, you're finally utilizing because Drew Brees is injured. But I'm saying, unless he is who you feel is going to be the quarterback of the future, I just think that as an organization, I think that might have been a waste of money.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm actually with you. I mean, it was a very large contract and one that had me shaking my head.
Oh, and a lot of people because it's like, well, why you sign Jameis in? I mean, he's already on the roster, but you signed. And look, Jameis came cheap. I understand. You got him for $1 million, but Jameis is a former Heisman Trophy winner. The man led the league in passing yards last year with over 5,100 yards. And you got him relegated to third string, and you got him for $1 million. Look, I get it; it's $1 million, but if you're not going to utilize them, I mean, why get him? I mean,
would he be a better fit than Cam in New Orleans? You think Jameis would have made a difference down there?
No,
complete opposite style of play.
You know what? To be honest, I think Cam would have worked better down in New Orleans than Jameis, and even if it's to back up Drew Brees, but I think because he actually has weapons and he has players that, Michael Thomas. I mean, he can actually throw it down the field, and someone can actually run down there and catch it. I think because he would have better weapons in New Orleans, I think Cam would have been. I think it would have been a better fit. But the fact that you go to New England, there's no way Cam's ego would have been like, I can't. You're not gonna have me on the bench behind Stidham or Brian Hoyer, But he has a starter mentality. I don't even know if he would have been, sufficing in a backup to Drew Brees. But I just think there would have been a better setup for him, a better situation for him because they have more athletes. You have Adam Kamara. I mean, one, you got a solid running game. You got a defense that's number 1, number 2 in the league. So he would have had more options and a better chance at succeeding down in New Orleans than he is thus far in New England.
Well, Darren, what do you say we take a little break? Let's come back. You want to talk a little NBA? We always say we're going to talk NBA, and then I feel like we give ourselves like 2 minutes to talk it, and then we're just like, we don't have time. We got to talk about James Harden, Giannis. You for some reason your Lakers, you're just a massive Lakers guy.
Well, look, as long as I get to take a shot at Kyrie Irving, I'm good. So we can do that.
We'll allow a shot at Kyrie Irving. I'll try and take his side. I'm a Kyrie guy. Yeah, I know. Surprising. Uncle Drew.
I guess. Take a break, man.
All right. We'll take a quick break. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
Your hometown radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, presents a special college football championship weekend. Friday night, we'll bring you live coverage of the Pac-12 championship. Then Saturday, the action kicks off at 11 a.m. with Iowa State and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. At 3, tune in to hear Notre Dame and Clemson in the ACC championship on ESPN Kansas City. And at 7, it's Alabama and Florida in the SEC championship game on Sports Radio 810. It's all on Sports Radio 810 and ESPN Kansas City.
As we recover from the shutdown, some are finding themselves in uncharted territory, facing eviction for the first time. In fear, they take that one step to call for help. Thankfully, Community Link is that one step, permanently ending and preventing homelessness with housing and assistance for thousands in our community for over 35 years. Visit communitylink.org and take that one step to make a home for the holidays, or call 816-595-5553 to learn more.
Stuck at home? Make home more fun for the family with Family Leisure. Family Leisure has a huge selection of pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, pool tables, fire pits, massage chairs, grill islands, basketball goals, and more. Call us to find out about free no-contact delivery or free curbside service. 913-888-7727. Locally owned and serving Kansas City for over 25 years. Family Leisure, K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome.
Are you looking for unique sporty clothing and merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport styles, sport locals, sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 810 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Boulevard believes in easy indulgence. That's why they decided to put Tank 7 in cans. Their distinctly American twist on a classic Belgian-style farmhouse ale takes its name from the notoriously unpredictable fermenter where the signature beer's perfect combination of ingredients first came to life. You could call it fate. Their brewers call it Tank 7. Grab a 4-pack and treat yourself to a Tank 7 today. You deserve it. Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. Darren.
Yes, sir.
NBA talk. We always do this, and I finally left us like 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes for NBA talk. First off, Giannis just signed his Supermax with the Bucks. Although, will he or won't he? We have a top 3 player in the NBA actually staying in a small market, not going to L.A. What do you make of this?
Well, I make of it that, one, he wants to stay true to what he's been saying about not teaming up with quote-unquote other superstars. But here's the thing. It's going to be dependent upon the Milwaukee Bucks and their ownership, which they seem to have given him their word that they're going to try to surround him with as much role players and great talent as possible. So if they stay true to what they're saying, good things could come to Milwaukee. The problem that I have with Milwaukee is not the regular season I'm concerned with, it's the playoffs and what they've done in the last 2 years. They've shown that they can't get over the hump. Until he gets over the hump and he plays differently and the talent that he has around him steps up in the playoffs, it could still be, a long lost cause. But it is good for the city of Milwaukee. They're one of their own that they've drafted, decided to stay home, stay there, and basically continue his career, in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think it's fun because, to me, when LeBron went to L.A. with Anthony Davis, is it fun to watch? Sure. But to me, it's tainted because you have to have 2 superstars in today's NBA to win a championship. We pretty much have gotten there at a minimum. You have to have 2. It's kind of fun seeing if someone like Giannis can do it staying in one spot. To me, it's a little bit more exciting. It almost makes it mean a little bit more. That's just how I feel. So seeing Giannis stay here, it's awesome for the city of Milwaukee. It's awesome for himself. I think he believes in the front office, so give the front office credit for at least trying to do what they can to keep him to stay here. And I want to say something else. Luka Doncic is actually the betting favorite over Giannis to win MVP. I'm not saying best odds. I'm saying he's the betting favorite. What do you make of Luka? What do you make of this?
Well, I'm looking at it. I mean, he does have the best odds to win the NBA regular season MVP, and that's courtesy of William Hill, Caesar Sportsbooks.
Is that a little surprising?
No, I mean, if he averages, honestly, and let's keep it 100, if he averages a triple-double, which he started the season out that way, and obviously I think he was like 25, 28, 8 and 9 or something like that. If he averages a triple-double like Russell Westbrook did, I don't see why he wouldn't win it. Now, a lot of it is going to be whether or not these players, because they came back from the bubble, and they're playing the way that they are. I don't know, because that's a tough one, because look, Kevin Durant, depending on how he leads the Brooklyn Nets, if they have the best record, he could be not only comeback player of the year, but also MVP. There's a lot of moving parts where, again, because of our interest in the NBA, this is going to be a season unlike any other, including even COVID, because now this is post-COVID, or in the realm of COVID, where you start off the season in COVID versus ending the season. And so this entire year is going to be COVID related. So, but I like the I like the idea of Luka as an MVP candidate.
Well, and I was all about it last year. Not necessarily for MVP, but I was saying, dude, we got to start paying more attention to Luka. I said even preseason
he balled out in the playoffs
last year.
He balled out in the bubble, man. I'm thoroughly impressed.
And then even preseason last year, I said a team to watch out for is Dallas with KP and Luka, and I think that just extends even more this upcoming season. Dallas, again, will be an extremely fun team to watch. James Harden, what do you make of this? James Harden is out here. Talk about a will he or won't he, because this is the definition of will he or won't he. James Harden seems like he doesn't want to play for Houston.
He does.
Seems like he wants to get out of here.
He does.
He says, John Wall, no John Wall, doesn't matter. Get me out of Houston. If I'm a Houston Rockets fan, I would be pissed off. They have done everything they possibly can to keep him happy. You want Chris Paul? We'll get you Chris Paul. You want Russell Westbrook? We'll get you Russell Westbrook. And this is how he repays you. If I'm a Houston Rockets fan, I got to be at least feeling some type of way, saying, we gave you everything we possibly could, and then you're just going to bail?
Well, here's my spin on things when it comes to James Harden. One, what's he won since he's been there? I mean, he's won individual awards, fine. Yeah, he's won the MVP, but you're not Akeem Olajuwon, you're not Clyde Drexler, you didn't bring a title to the city. You had an opportunity when you had Chris Paul. I think you were up 3 games to you were up or at least tied going into the last game against the Golden State Warriors, and as the superstar, you couldn't get it done against the Golden State Warriors. So I'm not sold on them. And look, if someone is saying that they want out, yeah, I'm gonna try to trade you, but I'm not giving you up for free. So I mean, look, and the Houston Rockets, they're doing smart by asking for a king's ransom. Get what you can from this guy. But if I'm Houston Rockets fans, I don't care. I mean, get rid of him. I mean, because again, I'm all, what have you done for me lately? So like, look, I'm consistent. Like I said about Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu until they started stepping up recently. Hey, look, man, if we can get the same type of play from players who ain't making as much, we don't need you back here next year.
The only problem is you're not going to get the same type of production unless it's James Harden. You could say, what has he done in the playoffs? Sure, he's had some bad playoff games, but you're not even sniffing the playoffs if he wasn't on that roster. And we can all agree.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, for what you're paying this man, you're paying him $150+ million over the next 3 years, and he turned down a $100 million 2-year extension. Yeah. So that's $250 million again. So, I mean, if he doesn't want to play there, and I can get those numbers off my books and get it, because look, if you don't remember, I think it's the Pelicans and I think the Phoenix Suns. There's 2 teams. I know the Pelicans are one of them that have a buku load of draft picks over the next 2-3 years, to where it's unfair. I know ESPN did a story about that recently, but if I can get a king's ransom for him, and also a star to go along with it, yeah, you might not have the production of someone who scores 30+ points a game, but your locker room is going to be much, much calmer. You'll have more of a team-oriented type team that you're putting out there on the floor, and you want to have somebody that's trying to rebel against you. So, again, good riddance. If I'm a fan of the Houston Rockets, I'm trying to get rid of you.
What's funny is actually Oklahoma City has probably the most upcoming draft picks from the Paul George deal, plus all the deals they've made. James Harden back to OKC.
The Thunder and the Pelicans, because of what they got from the Los Angeles Lakers. So,
Yeah, I'm kidding. I don't see him ever going back to OKC. But John Wall, Boogie Cousins have actually both, again, preseason, let's temper some expectations. But both those guys have looked extremely good in this limited playing time so far. Do you think John Wall and Boogie Cousins are back, or do you think this is just a little bit of an illusion early preseason? Their best years are far behind them.
No, I think they're back. I mean, look, you got a new head coach. He's going to probably put them in situations to succeed. And see, that's the other thing that I know people are harping on James Harden. I mean, you got a black head coach, and now you're trying to run off someplace because you don't want that responsibility, in which you've had the responsibility over the last few years. But in a Mike D'Antoni system, it allows you to just run and gun. Now, I don't know what this coach's system is compared to Mike D'Antoni, so it may be something that maybe another reason why he wants to get out of there. But look, I say give the guy a chance. And again, if you can, depend on who you get for James Harden, they might mesh better for the coach's system that's down there.
I'm with you. It's going to be fine. It's going to be tough to find a trade partner for James Harden. The best one I have seen that makes the most sense feasibly is with the Sixers, and that's for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, but you get a point guard that can't shoot.
Hey, I know. You don't have a lot of options. You have to give him a lot, and you got to find someone who's going to take on that contract and that ego.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, John Wall is a point guard or shooting guard. Which one is he? He's a point guard. Yeah, so, I mean, why, unless, and you, I mean, yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
I'm just giving you the reports, Darren. Don't shoot the messenger.
I understand. I'm not. But look, man, we want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Tuning in on Darren and Charlotte here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM. Make sure you mask up, you social distance, and you stay safe. We'll be back tomorrow with more great live sports talk right here. Until then, for Sterling Holmes, I'm Darren Smith. Have a blessed evening.